ladies and gentlemen, Navy diver, current Navy diver, essentially Navy SEAL from Australia, double amputee, conservationist, shark diver,
Shark Week
star,
host,
motivational speaker. Paul de Gelder.
It's Shark Week up in Fine Kid Studios.
Yeah, we got Paul de Gelder.
It's our own Shark Week.
I thought Paul de Gelder.
Discovery Channel?
Yeah, Paul de Gelder is diving in Sydney Bay, where you can see the Opera House. And
let's have him tell the story.
I know. I'm just setting it up.
Don't tell him, please.
I'm setting it up.
Don't tell his story.
But I want to go.
Let's have him set it up, please. Don't ruin this.
It would be funny if I was like, let me explain how I feel.
Oh my God.
Paul,
take it, my man. What exactly? Just give us.
You told the story 1,000 times.
Literally 1,000 times.
Yeah,
But tell us for our
more.
listeners.
Probably more.
Probably more. So while I was at work one day in February 2009 doing a counter-terrorism exercise, I was in the water. Like you said, you can see the Harbour Bridge, you can see the Sydney Opera House. So this is a very popular spot. And we dive and work there all the time. So I'd swum and dive there thousands of times. And I was on the surface on my back with a very thin wetsuit on and a pair of fins. And while I was in the water, after probably only 4 or 5 minutes, a bull shark came up from underneath me, grabbed me by the back of the leg and the hand on my right side, all in one bite, and decided that I was breakfast and just started tearing me to pieces.
And you didn't see it at all, right? It was
I
totally
didn't see
unexpected.
it. Yeah, I was looking the other direction. And I felt something hit me, and it didn't hurt at that point. So I turned around thinking the guys in the boat got a little bit too close, and then you turn around and you see your worst nightmare attached to you, and you kind of don't know what to do.
And did your natural reactions kick into fight? Because obviously, I mean, you're a tough guy, Navy SEAL, basically, of Australia. So your natural reactions to fight, I assume.
Yeah. After a second of going, is this real life? You think, okay, I've seen the crocodile hunter, I'll jab it in the eyeball.
Yeah.
But it had my hand in its mouth, so I couldn't use it. So I tried to do it with my left hand, but I couldn't reach. I tried to punch it in the head. That didn't work. I think I just pissed it off, and then it started shaking me like sharks do, took me underwater, kept shaking me. When a bull shark grabs something, it uses its top teeth first to grab on, and then the jaw is actually movable. So when they shake, the teeth act together as a saw.
Oh, that's nice.
So while it was shaking me, it's sawing the flesh out of my body.
Yeah.
It's a shit day at work. Yeah.
It's a shit day at work.
It's a shit day. That's an understatement.
It's a shit day.
But like on you see these shark experts are like, yeah, you see a shark, man, you just punch the thing. You just punch in the nose.
That's
you
my
tag its
favorite
eye.
thing.
Oh yeah, it's that easy.
Yeah, tried that one. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Because everything tries to do that to him, and he has protectors over his eyes, or his eyeballs are hard as shit like marbles, and it does not phase
It's
him.
also probably 1,000 pounds of muscle, right?
Yeah. This thing was 9 foot. I'm 6 foot, so it's got 3 foot of muscle on me, and they're huge. They're so strong, designed to swim around in the water, just a body of muscle. And when they grab you and they start shaking, you realize how useless and powerless you actually are.
Yeah, it's killing you with its face.
You realize man really isn't shit in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, we have guns and technology, but if it comes down to it, Mother Nature, sharks, bears, you're screwed.
There was a conservationist at Yellowstone who said, look, this is not a park, a theme park. There are elements in this park that don't give two shits if you live or die. You've just got to understand how to navigate. But when I was watching some of your stuff, they don't really tell you what to do, and maybe there is nothing to do when a giant marine mammal or animal grabs you.
I watched all his interviews, and they're like, so if I'm getting attacked by a shark, what should I do?
There's no blueprint.
You fucking idiots. Nothing. You're in his land.
Yeah,
what do you punch him in the eye? Stab him. Okay. Yeah, let me try that.
I'm sure that's worked by accident where people have been like, and the shark's like, that's a human.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have just created it out of nowhere, I guess, but it's been done. It's happened.
I guess it's the only thing you can do.
Nothing's 100%. Didn't work for me. But,
well, so we're 1 for 1 in our 30 so far. Was there a point when he dragged you underwater where you're like, oh, this is it?
Oh, yeah.
What a way
to
go, though.
So it lasted about 8 to 10 seconds. The footage is on YouTube. You can watch it. They were recording it as part of the exercise, and then a TV show in Australia ended up getting that footage from the Navy. So it's on YouTube. You can actually watch it. But at about 5 or 6 seconds in, I'm thinking, this is it. I'm not going home today. I'm going to die right now.
Because you could have easily bled out.
Yeah. Well, it missed my femoral artery by a couple of millimeters. If it even nicked that artery, I would have bled out and died before I was even out of the water.
All the time,
yeah. And as it was, when the lads in the safety boat got to me and took me to the wharf, by the time they got me to the wharf, or the pier you guys call it, I think, the boat was an inch deep in my blood. My chief, who took control of the situation, already thought that I was dead. Wow. So one of the guys had to stick his hand inside my leg and pinch closed an artery with his fingers to keep me alive.
First of all, good thing that you were with guys who kind of knew what to do in that situation, to an extent at least.
Yeah, really.
But you guys, you guys don't go over what happens if one of the guys in your unit or platoon are attacked by a shark, right? Well, that's not protocol.
We do a dive brief before we get in the water for every dive. We didn't that day because it wasn't actually diving. We were just surface swimming. But there's a section in the dive brief that says DMA, which stands for Dangerous Marine Animals. And the only thing it says is, if you encounter DMA, exercise caution.
Thanks, Dr. No Help.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for that pamphlet.
I love when they say that shit. They say something about a bear. If you hear a bear, chances are it is a bear. It's not just some dog. So exercise caution. Hey.
So the thing that really saved my life was the military training of how to stay calm under pressure.
Yeah.
You know, I popped to the surface with my hand gone, my hamstring missing. And at that point, I didn't know what damage was done to my leg, but I started swimming for the safety boat. And when I took my arm out of the water, I could see my hand was gone. And my medical training instantly kicked in and said, okay, keep that wound above your heart. Plus, from watching Shark Week, I knew that sharks can detect one drop of blood in 10,000 leagues of ocean or whatever. Yeah. So I didn't want the blood going into the water, so I raised my arm above my heart and started swimming for the safety boat. My medical training told me that if I looked at the injury in my leg and it was horrific, then I could go into shock and I'd die. So I didn't even bother looking at it. I just focused on talking to my friends, staying calm. Wow. So all that stuff came into play.
Wow. So in other words, you take your attention off your injury and put it somewhere else.
As much as you can, yeah.
Sorry. That's amazing.
That would be your phone down here. We've only done 200 shows. He's been in show business for 20 years. Great story, though, man.
I've lost my place now. We're going to have to start again.
Exactly. But that's interesting when you deal with shock. I've heard that before from combat veterans and people who are trained that way. So in Vietnam, what they found was a lot of the Viet Cong would not go into shock even though they have horrific injuries because they were putting their attention somewhere else. A lot of Americans would get shot. And because, in many ways, just our culture, holy shit, I've been shot, they would focus on that and go into shock.
I think yours is more of, holy shit, I need to survive and get to the boat.
Yeah, well,
you don't have time.
I didn't even think I was going to make it to the boat. I didn't think I was going to get out of the water at all. And even when I was swimming to the boat with one hand and one leg, I'm thinking, I'm not going to make it. This shark's going to come back any second. It's going to grab me by the other leg, take me underwater, and I'm going to die. Because I'm running out of air, I'm running out of blood, I'm running out of energy. I'm swimming with one hand because I can't operate my leg. And I'm just thinking, this is it. I'm stuffed. I'm going to go down right now.
Yeah.
But you got to stay calm and you focus on one thing at a time. Then it was get to the boat. And then it was, as soon as I got into the boat, I was so relieved at not being eaten anymore. I relaxed and passed out. And my buddy sprang on top of me and thought he knew that I was going into cardiac arrest. So he stimulated my heart.
Oh, so you were going into cardiac arrest?
Yeah, I passed out. Well, that's what he thought anyway. I don't know. I don't know how to tell whether my heart's stopping or not. But he jumped on top of me and started pummeling me in the chest to stimulate my heart and wake me back up. And that worked.
Damn.
But then I wake up and I look over and my hand's gone, mangled and bitten off by a shark. And I look up and my mate Tomo's beating the shit out of me. And I'm just thinking, today sucks.
That's a rough day in the office.
Today sucks. Can I ask you, I've always wondered, and it's probably a question that's hard to answer, but I've always wondered when people go through horrific or traumatic, catastrophic situations and live. I know I'm sure it's changed you in how you approach life and how you approach just everyday challenges, but has it in any way made you less afraid of death or?
Totally.
It has.
I have no fear of death anymore.
Wow.
Bring it
at
on.
all. Like there is, when you come that close to death, you realize there's nothing left to be afraid of. And even death isn't that scary. Like when you feel like you're 3 seconds away from taking your last breath, there's a calm that washes over you. And part of that for me was knowing that I had no regrets, I had a clear conscience, and I was ready to go. That didn't actually happen. Yeah, it was, I'm not getting out of here. I'm going to die right now. And a calm comes over you, and then I didn't die. And there's just nothing left to be afraid of. That was my worst nightmare.
Can't get much
and public
worse.
speaking.
Public speaking.
Yeah.
That and public
Sharks and
speaking.
But
public
you're doing
speaking.
both now.
Yeah, right.
You've gone through both.
How weird is that? Now I make shark documentaries and I do motivational speaking.
This is what
You couldn't make this shit up.
No, you can't. If Hollywood wrote this story, I'd be like, that's some bullshit. That would never happen. What's weird to me is I wonder why the shark let you go and didn't finish the job.
Hopefully it was choking to death.
On your hamstring.
On his huge hamstring.
Yeah. So I think the fact that it actually removed a huge chunk of my leg. And I guess it was either full or it was while it was eating it, it worked out that I'm not what it normally eats. It didn't like it, so it just took off.
And so you go through all this, you're in the hospital, and and I'm sure you're getting a bunch of media attention, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
and
crazy.
It's alarming, blah, blah, blah. But then when you get out of the hospital and you're back at your bed, in your bedroom, and you're missing an arm, missing a leg, I'm sure it hits you then because all that wears off, all the excitement.
Yeah.
You're missing an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Life's never going to be the same.
Yeah, that first night at home, funny you should say that too, the first night at home was the worst because for 9 weeks I was in hospital and you have constant visitors and you've got the doctors coming and the nurses coming to check on you all the time and you're sort of distracted, plus you're drugged to the eyeballs on the best drugs. And then you go home and you're self-medicating, and that first night I sat on the edge of my bed and there was no more visitors, no friends, no doctors, none of that stuff. It's just you for the first time, and I looked down at myself and for the first time in my life I saw a disabled person and my heart just broke.
Well, after being so physically gifted.
And that was everything I relied on because I'm not the smartest guy. I got by and I got through my military career by being able to push my body and my mind beyond the limits.
Yeah.
So that night you just started
I started crying, man.
Just crying.
It was too much. I was thinking, how am I going to live the rest of my life like this? What job am I possibly going to be able to have? I can't go back to the job that I love. How am I going to slide down a rope out of a helicopter with one hand? How am I going to go diving? How am I going to do normal everyday things like drive a car and all that shit?
Is it safe to say there were suicidal thoughts?
It wasn't really an option. Like stuff like that creeps in, but I never seriously considered it just because.
Maybe not suicide, or do you wish the shark would have finished the job?
Oh, yeah. Especially when I was in hospital and the day after I had my leg removed, the pain management team couldn't get my pain under control. And I laid in my bed for 20 hours crying and rolling from side to side in my bed, wishing that the shark had killed me.
Where was the pain? It was just the nerves, I guess.
Whole body. Like, there was no one spot just because it overrides your whole central nervous system. So everything was hurting. Plus I was on ketamine. If anyone who knows anything about ketamine or Special K, that can really mess with your brain and put you into a K-hole. I was hallucinating. I thought I'd died and gone to hell. I could hear everyone around me in the visiting area, visiting other patients. And I just laid in my hospital bed, rolling from side to side, crying, wishing that the shark had killed me.
When did the pain go away?
After 20 hours.
Why did it go away?
I'm not entirely sure.
But they were able to give you the right cocktail of drugs.
It must have been, yeah.
Do you still feel physical pain from your injury?
Somewhat. I have, you might have heard of the term phantom limb pain, yeah. So
that's real.
Oh yeah, it's bad too. And I don't have the bad stuff all the time. There's two different types. So there's phantom pain and there's what I call phantom sensation. And the phantom pain is really bad. I get an electrical bolt all the way from the top of my hip all the way down into the foot that's not even there, which is weird as shit. And it feels like you're being electrocuted. It hurts so much. And sometimes it's maybe I'll get one in 2 months. And then say I'll get 20 hours of it. Every
like
20 seconds.
It's like light, like electric?
Yeah. It's like being electrocuted. In the hand, it's like being stung by a bee over and over and over and over again. And once again, it might be one time in 6 months, and then I might get it for 24 hours.
So let's go back to the night when you're crying, you're at home, you're getting back to regular civilian life. At what point are you like, fuck this, I'm still this badass? And not only am I not afraid of sharks, but I'm going to start helping them. Then I'm going to land a gig on Discovery Channel. Oh, and I'm also going to do motivational speaking because I'm terrified of that.
Well,
how do you even get to that point? Where's this middle part where you just pick up your lunchbox and get back to work?
Oh, I just woke up and said, that's it, I'm going on Shark Week.
I tried that, and they're like, "No, you're not, bitch."
Well, you look like a giant seal. You should
know.
see him in the waves.
Oh, yeah?
With his legs together. He's doing that dolphin bob with his
Not anymore.
arms by his hips. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro,
Not
you
anymore
are.
after Homeboy.
You
came.
look like a giant seal. There are great whites out there that are just hungry.
So,
Yeah, look,
so you're
it's-
going through all this. I'm sure everyone's feeling sorry for you.
It was a long process.
Media, and then
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to that
Well,
point?
the main thing after I woke up was worrying about my career. And that was the first step. I needed to know that I could have some value and purpose. I needed my job. That's what gets us up out of bed every day. We got value. We have purpose. We're busy. Our lives are full. So I needed to know that I could have some of that just to get the motivation to go on with life. And I wanted to stay in my job. And luckily for me, the Chief of the Navy in Australia said as long as I wanted a job in the Navy, I would have one. I don't think he realised I wanted my old job back, but I did. So that was the goal. And that was an impossible dream. No one's going to look at you laying in a bed with one leg and one hand and go, oh, yeah, he could definitely be a clearance diver again.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure I believed it. But what I did was set small, achievable goals. Get up earlier, get off the drugs, eat better, focus on the next step, learn to walk, get a leg and then learn to walk. So it was
One step at a time.
Exactly right. And sometimes that first step is the hardest, because you don't have any motivation to drive you on. But as soon as you make that first step, and it doesn't matter how big or small that is at all, just as long as you take it, and then you can look back and go, oh shit, I've done something here. All right, well, what else can I do? So I started 2 days after I had my leg chopped off, and I was laying in my hospital bed thinking, okay, how did I get here to begin with? Because I wasn't always, I was an Army paratrooper at 23, and then I changed to the Navy at 28. But I wasn't always that way. I was a weed smoking, stealing, fighting, drinking punk. So I thought back to what helped me get to become this person, and it was PT, physical training. That's what gave me my drive and my focus. So I thought, well, why would I stop something that's worked in the past? And 2 days after I had my leg chopped off, the surgeon came into my room and found me doing one-arm chin-ups on the bar above my bed.
Picture.
Yeah, and that wasn't trying to be impressive, even though I was pretty impressed in myself.
Yeah.
That was
keeping your head.
I just needed to take a first step.
Yeah.
I couldn't even go to the toilet by myself, but I could lift myself up repeatedly. So I just did that. Stay busy, keep your mind focused, learn about your situation. I had to learn all about prosthetics and what was out there, what was coming next, watch YouTube clips of Paralympic athletes and dudes with no legs climbing mountains. And the more research I did, the more I realized that if these people can do it, then there's no reason that I can't do it.
Yeah.
My life is not over. If I get the right tools, I can do any job that I need to be able to do. So that was the process. And it took a really long time.
How long are we talking?
So I had to go through 3 more surgeries as well, because when your bones break and they pin them together, the bones lay down this like concrete.
Calcium deposits.
Yeah, to help the bone heal, stay together while it's regrowing. But I didn't have a second bone for it to grow to, so it was laying down this bone concrete and creating spurs, and they were digging into my flesh.
That's good.
So
for
I had to have those removed 3 times over about 2 years. So I had to keep going for surgery, learning to walk again, going for surgery, learning to walk again. So it was a slow process, but at the same time, just because I couldn't walk didn't mean I wasn't going to progress in other areas. I'd get on my crutches and I'd go to the gym and I'd work my upper body, or I'd go to work and I'd try and learn the courses that I'm going to be teaching, things like that. There's always something you can do.
What's the name of your book?
No Time for Fear.
How long has it been out?
It's been out for, I think, 3.5 years now.
And that was there a book you read before that helped you more than any other book? Was there anybody who you listened to that put things in perspective, that gave you mental tools, or had you already kind of been exposed to
Was there
that?
any authors that also got bit by a shark and helped you
Yeah,
out? I mean, it's kind of...
That's a good question. That's a good point.
He's kind of,
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, in other
who
words,
can relate to that?
Right.
I'm not going to read fucking Shakespeare when a shark bit my arm and leg off. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You don't become a motivational
you kind of had to write your
talker.
own book, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, look, I have some great friends. I have some very clever friends that helped me out with some good advice. And one of them said to me one day, I was feeling pretty bad, and he said, look, don't feel bad about feeling bad. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural human emotion. Feel bad. Just feel bad, identify why you feel bad, and then fix it or move on. Don't let it ruin your day, your week, or your whole life. So that's something that
makes a lot of
stayed with
sense.
me. Yeah.
Like kind of allow yourself to feel human about this.
Yeah,
Acknowledge
exactly
it,
right.
but then you got to get going.
Yeah.
Like you can't be a habit or a lifestyle feeling sorry for yourself.
Exactly right. So there wasn't really any books. Obviously, there's the movie that was surprisingly just on TV the other day when I was hanging at my friend's place at Imperial Beach, Men of Honor, about Cuba Gooding Jr. plays Carl Brashear, the Navy diver that gets his leg taken off. And, so I watched that about 1,000 times.
Movies are important. Story.
There's also a book that helped me with my mindset, which is The Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman.
I've heard about that.
Really good book. Just sort of changed my mindset about a lot of things.
Like, what do you mean? Like, you mean
about feeling sorry for yourself and focusing internally instead of looking externally at what you can achieve. And that's actually been my greatest sense of happiness. Not trying to provide for myself. I made so much money doing this motivational speaking, more than I ever thought I could possibly do, and doing TV and stuff. And I could buy myself a nice car and I can buy a house and all that stuff, but I don't need it. You know what makes me happiest? Doing things for other people.
So putting your attention over there again, not
on yourself.
But we, Paul, we live in. I always talk about this, a culture and a society that really does focus on you're allowed to really make yourself the center of the entire universe. No. And that's the wrong way to go about it, right?
We're also an entertainment bee.
That's still
we're
a bad
surrounded.
idea.
Well, we're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
So our view's a little skewed because we're surrounded by entertainers where it's about them.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that I only spent two weeks in Afghanistan doing some stand-up for the troops. And one of the things it was very interesting because the biggest thing I took away a lot, but when you're in the military and you're in a war zone, it's always about the other guy and the other people. Yeah. It's always about your company, your corps. It's always about your duty, and you come last in that equation. And I have to say it was so refreshing to be around. And I realized that my culture that I was living in Los Angeles was very much the opposite. Yeah.
It's still.
But it was a good perspective check, man.
Yeah. And it's like the feeling bad thing. It's not a bad thing. People love to be loved. I love to be loved. I like to have a little bit of attention as well. But when it becomes your sole source of happiness, you're going to fail.
Sure. What kind of work are you doing with sharks now? Because I think most people, if a shark changed their life in the way it changed yours, they'd almost like fuck it and go on this revenge tour. But you're kind of doing the exact opposite.
Surprisingly enough, most people don't do that. Most people who are in the water, who have been bitten by a shark, understand that they were in the shark's domain. They don't hold a grudge. You're still pissed off. You're like, you get upset about this bloody animal changing your life and nearly killing you, but you realize that that's the risk you take. And that's what people that exist on the coastlines and spend lots of time in the water, that's the mindset we have. So no one goes out trying to kill sharks after they've been bitten, as far as I'm aware anyway. But yeah.
But my thing is, at what point were you like, all right, I need to bring attention to this beautiful animal that some would say ruined my life at some point?
Look, that happened pretty slowly. Being the only clearance diver in Australia that's ever been attacked by a shark and the first person that's been attacked by a shark in Sydney Harbour in 60 years, there was a lot of media attention. So I had the opportunity to learn a lot about sharks by hanging around people that were shark experts and scientists, and do interviews and spend time on Shark Week. I've met some of the most renowned shark cinematographers and experts in the world. So cool. All I do is just try and absorb this information, because the first time that I got into the water with a shark, after the shark attack, that was my first time.
Yeah. What kind of shark did you get in there?
I did an aquarium swim twice with, I think you guys call them sand tigers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have all the teeth, but they're not that dangerous.
Yeah,
right?
I couldn't look at the face initially.
I bet. But they're not dangerous, correct?
They're not dangerous. Yeah. And then I went to Fiji and I dove with bull sharks.
Bull sharks?
Hey man.
Yeah, like so many.
Hey bro.
So many sharks.
You like
can
the other
barely
one?
see the water. Not only did I dive with them, but the guy who does it taught me. He's an ex-South African clearance diver, and he taught me how to hand feed the bull sharks. So I ended up.
Is he the guy who puts them in tonic?
No, that's out of the Bahamas, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, so here's my question about how did the experts know it was a bull shark and not a great white?
By the bites in my leg and the wetsuit, by the teeth marks.
I got you.
Yeah. You need to watch some Shark Week, Don.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot about
literally
bulls.
cover it
I know
all the
bull
time.
sharks, I think, attack more people. But, we were talking about this. Brendan was saying, they say, well, your chances of a shark attack are 1 in a million.
Your odds. I was
Odds,
looking up this
unless you're in the
morning.
water a lot.
Because your odds are going to be higher because your job requires you to be in the water all the time.
Yeah.
So when they say you're more likely to die by a pig, that's not true. If I'm on the farm all the time, maybe. But you got to take those odds into consideration.
Well, you're more
So if
likely
in
to
the water,
die in a car accident on the way to the beach.
Well, yeah, because you're in the car way more than you are in the beach.
Yeah.
If you're in the water, your odds are higher than mine. 100%.
Well, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So that 1 in a million doesn't count for you. That's for because the person I was like, hell yeah, 1 in a million.
Well, it's
the person living
indexed,
on,
yeah.
Of
course.
And they really don't include those odds.
I wonder what these stats would be on if you got in the middle of the ocean and you swam 10 miles in the middle of the ocean. I wonder what that would do to your odds.
Depends what part of the ocean.
People do it. Yeah, it depends on part of the ocean. It depends on the time of year. Depends on if there's fish around.
Morning, dusk, dawn.
Yeah. So
watch
the same
Shark
week
Week,
that I got
I know
bitten.
a lot
We
about
go
sharks.
over this.
I don't need to go over
No, I'm saying
Shark Week.
they
do?
They go over all
Really?
the stuff. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it all
They
depends.
literally cover. I mean, how long Shark Week been around? So 28 years.
They've
So
they've answered every
do
question
this.
you can imagine.
In a cage and all. It's nuts, man.
Yeah, they're incredible animals. I didn't fully appreciate them until I was actually in the water with them. And when you're in the water with them, I'm not talking about great whites in a cage where they're blooding and baiting them.
Yeah, I'm trying
but
to
when
do
you're swimming with 15 bull sharks, 20 nurse sharks, you got 30 reef sharks all around you, and you think in your brain when you're on the surface this is going to be terrifying, but when you're down there watching it, it's so amazing and you don't feel threatened at all.
Why were those bull sharks not dangerous in that environment?
Well, they're not always dangerous anyway. They'd been doing this for 16 years. And it was a dead reef. They went out there, they recreated and reinvigorated this reef. And the sharks weren't even there at that point. So they had to attract the fish. The fish attracted the sharks eventually. And then it was another 6 months before they could even get the sharks in close enough to try and feed them. So this was a really long, slow process. And they built up a recognition and almost a friendship, I think.
Is that dangerous? Because I see a lot of kind of criticism with the shark diving when they chum the water, and then the sharks, mainly great whites, associate chumming and blood with humans because then they see humans.
Yep.
So when you guys are trying to attract these bull sharks, whatever, and you're feeding the sharks, don't you think that's kind of
That's what I thought as well. But then I talked to Brandon, who'd been doing it all this time, and he said no one gets bitten by sharks there. The only guys that get bitten are the natives in Fiji that go out there at night spearfishing.
Oh, because they hit the fish
Yeah,
blood and
exactly.
the sharks.
Yeah. So they're the only guys that get bitten.
Because my friend Ken is a long distance swimmer, and he went to a while back off Catalina. This guy got in big trouble because he was chumming water and getting monster great whites to come up, but the problem was surfers were a mile away.
Oh man!
And it was a big issue, right? I mean, this guy got, they tried to find him and he fought it, but he was bringing tourist boats out there and chumming the water and getting these great whites to come up.
See, I want to see that.
Of course you do, and so do I. But you can't do that when you got
It's
surfers.
pretty amazing, but you're right.
Yeah. So now, my buddy Ken, he gets in the water. He does a swim. He gets in the water at Catalina at 11 at night, 11 p.m., and swims. He freestyles to Santa Monica. He gets to the shore at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning.
Dusk and dawn.
And I'm like, bro, you swam in those waters, and we know there are great whites. We know there are great whites all in that area. And you swam at night on the surface, splish, splashing away. And of course, he was like, well, you don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Well, I do. On top of that, they had
That
the
would be
light.
the only thing I can think about.
They had the lights. The boat had lights on. He said, turn the lights off. They go, you sure? He goes, yeah. Because the guy said the problem with lights is that the squid come up. And when the squid come up, the sharks come up. So let's go ahead and not have. I can't imagine.
Did you see the lady who set it was the world record, I think, or she's one of the first people to swim from, I want to say Florida to Cuba, but she got flack because she had a little bit of a barrier around her just in case sharks.
Who's giving her
people
flack?
are like, bullshit, man. You got shark protectors.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, man,
And
let's go
jellyfish.
swim.
And there are jellyfish,
Yeah.
like the box jellyfish.
Yeah.
Those things will kill you.
Yeah,
He's all, yeah, for sure.
Your friend, was he suicidal? That's crazy.
It is, right?
I would never do that. But then they do it at Bondi every day. I've been living down at Bondi Beach in Sydney for the past 3 months. And they do, the old people and young people do it every morning. Swim from head to head, a couple of kilometres every morning, and no one ever gets attacked. Yet there's great white sharks there all the time.
Well, I saw a quote by you said, if people really knew how many sharks were around in the water, as close as everyone's swimming, no one would go in the water.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're around us all the time. You think about when you're sitting on the water and on your surfboard. You can envision this even if you're not a surfer. You're sitting on the water, the sun's beating down, reflecting off the waves. You can't see more than a couple of feet away from you, unless maybe you're in Hawaii and the water is crystal clear or something like that. But you do not know what is around you. There
Correct.
are so many sharks following the coastline, chasing the food. They're not complex creatures. We don't understand a lot about them, but what do we know? They eat, they mate, and they pup. So they're just following the food.
Yeah.
They're following their mating rituals, going to the places where they mate and they pup. They're around us all the time. They follow the coastline.
And they say down here, especially I think from San Diego all the way up to San Francisco, they call it the part of the triangle, the shark triangle, where there's just great whites everywhere.
But however, having said all that, I guess one of the reasons great whites are not attacking people as much is because from an evolutionary perspective, they didn't evolve to eat humans. So a human are alien. It doesn't look like their food source, right?
That's right.
Fish and seals are what their food source is.
Yeah.
Well, attacks are actually up in California from 1960.
Is that true?
Not deaths, attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well-
and that's why it's just
Oh, there it goes. Although we haven't had a great white attack in Malibu or Santa Monica, I think ever, right?
really.
Ever. I don't think there's ever been an attack on a human being in Santa Monica, Venice, Marina Del Rey. There has been in San
There's
Diego.
been sightings.
Sweet. That's giving
San
me some
Diego,
confidence
there's
for
been
when I go
deaths.
out surfing now.
Yeah, you're good.
Are you surfing? You're also a surfer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw pictures of you surfing. It's nuts, man. It's crazy.
It's good fun. I don't do it well, and it's frustrating because I can get towed into a 10-foot wave and surf okay. And I don't know how to surf. I know how not to drown, so I have a lot of fun. But the whole popping up on a surfboard with a back foot you can't feel, and a knee that you can't bend, and a hand that's not there to help you push up.
Not so easy.
It's pretty challenging. Yeah. But I don't do it to stand up. I do it to go out there and have some fun and hang out with my friends and be in the ocean.
So
that's living for me.
Heck yeah, man. There's nothing better, I think, being in the ocean.
You do a lot of surfing.
I used to do way more. I love it, man. After Paul told us they're everywhere, I'm probably not going to do it anymore. But,
Just come with me, because then what's the chance of someone getting attacked by a shark with a guy that's been attacked by a shark?
I know,
That's true,
right?
although they call that the gambler's fallacy.
Yeah,
You know that,
yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like, it can't happen again. Well, of course it can. But hopefully they bite that same hand and you're like, sucker.
There we go.
So how much stuff are you doing with Shark Week? And I couldn't be a bigger fan. It's literally, since I was a kid, it's been my favorite week of the year. It's like Super Bowl.
You don't leave the house.
No, I record all of them. I watch them at night. But
And we never had cable. I've never had cable. We never had it as a kid. We were too poor, so I had to watch it other ways. But it's so worth just finding out.
so how's it go down? Like, I'm always interested how, like, you guys film it how far out, and they just save it for the week of Shark Week. Like, did you film it a year ago and then they're just saving it for this big week, or how's it work?
No, we shot at the start of this year. Yeah, so basically you have to work around when the sharks are going to be in the area. What sharks you want to film first. So we didn't film in Australia. The show that I shot this year, they filmed in South Africa and in the Bahamas. 2 years before that, we did Australia. So we did all on the east coast around New South Wales, around the area that I live, and then down in South Australia where they do the cage diving with the great whites as well. And that's all around the start of the year.
And the shows you shot this year for Discovery Channel, what's the premises?
So this year's show is called Sharks Among Us, and this crazy, awesome Dr. Chris O'Connell created this shark barrier utilizing magnetic fields. And his goal has been to try and allow humans and sharks to coexist. And by creating this barrier, that's what he wanted to do. So we had to test it out. We got to find out if this stuff works. So what better way to test it out than put it in the water, then get in with it.
So what does it do? It sends out magnetic waves and the shark...
Look, I don't want to get too deep into it,
Yeah.
because I want people to watch the
You
show
don't
and
want
be
to spoil
surprised,
it.
because
Okay.
I was blown
Spoiler
away
alert.
that it actually
Really?
worked. I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, no, this isn't going to work. It's just some plastic and some magnets. But you know
what they're doing.
You'd be surprised.
To me, what's crazy is like it's been around 29 years, 28th year to come up with this many shark ideas, concepts. I just like, is there a writer that's like, hey, Paul, listen,
Sure.
we think great whites hate the way hamstrings taste. We need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they?
They have writers who come up with.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm only new to this TV stuff, so I don't know how it all works. I'm just the guy.
You just get a call and they say, we want you to be part of this.
Yeah, I'm just the dummy that gets in the water.
Well, what they have is a production team, right? So the
yeah.
people typically who do it have come up with ideas
Writers.
and pitch it and stuff. Yeah.
And well, look, while we're out there, things change as well, and we get to be a part of it. We get to decide what we're going to shoot, and we get to come up with ideas and try new things. And that's the beauty of it. You never know exactly what's going to happen when you're out there filming this show. I've been on shows that have started one way and have totally changed.
Because you can't control it.
We have an endless fascination with those things that can kill us. What I can't wait for is, and maybe they've done this already, is when they attach a small enough but powerful enough camera to a giant great white's face and just follow it around for 2 years.
They've done it to the fin.
I want to see
that's how they track it.
Yeah.
They've done that.
But how good is the footage? Like,
it's not very cool. It's all right. It's like it's not great. Yeah,
it'd be a big editing job to kind
It's getting better and better.
It's getting better, but they've done it a ton. But it's on its fin and just like falls around.
Yeah, Andy that I did my 2 shows with did it.
Yeah.
We put a fin cam on a great white in South Australia and followed it around, watched it swimming with other sharks.
How'd you attach it to the great white?
He has this homemade thing that he created. It's just on a clamp with a GoPro that has some like skateboard grip tape on it, and you open it up and it bangs closed shut. And then it has I can't remember the metal. It's something that dissolves in water over a couple of hours. And then that piece of metal dissolves, it pulls off, and it has a VHF receiver on it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I always feel bad for the shark that gets tagged because they have this stupid yellow thing on them around the other sharks.
It's like the other sharks are, hey,
Can you
nerd.
imagine if I showed up with a giant yellow thing hanging off my hair? Like, hey, bro, you're not the same as us. What are you doing?
Throwing your outfit off.
What the hell's going on here?
You would paint it a different color.
Yeah, right? Isn't it weird?
Man, that's amazing, man. What a trip, what a journey, and that you're still on.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's nice to have this opportunity actually to be a part of something that teaches conservation and teaches the appreciation for an animal that, you know, we're all a bit scared of sharks. People don't even go in the ocean because of them. They stay totally.
Me.
Yeah,
That's me.
That's you.
For real.
Yeah, but you still love watching them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be a part of that and try and share our passion and our love about them and educate people like you to know that they're not out there waiting for us. Right. You can go to the beach and go swimming, and you will not be eaten by a shark.
You should be good.
How is the conservation effort going? How endangered are sharks?
Sharks are pretty messed up.
They are.
100
Our
million.
oceans suck.
Our oceans do suck. And it's getting worse and worse. Even the Australian government is allowing coal ports in the Great Barrier Reef. We've got a oil mining platform going down to the Great Australian Bight, which is full of marine life. It's going to be put in an area that is so unstable, so rough, and it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Coral reefs are being destroyed at such an alarming rate in places like the Philippines and stuff, with dynamiting to get fish and stuff like that, right? And and drilling for giant clams. And
the commercial fishing is taking all the fish away from the reefs, so they die as well. And
I heard some crazy stat about tuna. Do you know how obsessed Americans are with tuna?
97% of Pacific tuna are gone.
Wow. 97%.
Because
from 50 years ago.
And also we are, I don't know that they do this anymore, but they would, they take these sort of dragging, they're like the size of not a net.
Super trawlers.
Super trawlers, the size of a semi. And they would troll. And so the bottom of the Atlantic, for stretches as large as Western Europe, are dead zones. This ecologist was on there because they would drag, and it takes up everything, clams and everything. I mean,
what's wrong with them?
Yeah, look, if you could actually see, if we could take the water out of the oceans or create an X-ray beam or whatever to see into the oceans, we would stop like that.
I think so too.
It would be a crime to keep taking
Problem
fish.
Is international cooperation. How do you designate, sort of fishery-free zones? I do think we're doing better, aren't we, with fish farms and stuff? I don't know if those are bad or good, but
there's contention on the point.
There is contention on the point, but we've got to do something. In fact,
we got to do something.
And one of the things we're doing is actually. What do you think we should do? You're the guy balls deep in it.
We definitely need to start. instigating some more legislation into commercial fishing. We need to stop raping the oceans of all the fish. We need to stop shark finning for a start.
Shark feeding?
Shark finning. Finning.
Killing them for their fins.
Killing them for their fins. Watch a great documentary
China,
called
are you
Shark
listening?
Water. Shark Water will tell you everything you need to know. And that was made 10 years ago. So you can imagine the state of the oceans now. It's like the rest of the planet. We need to be put in check. We need to take more control of this, or we're going to destroy the planet. You know, we're all part of this system. We're all part of the ecosystem and the circle of life. And it is so out of balance now because there's so many of us consuming everything in our path. Yeah. If we keep going, we're going to kill not all the animals, but we're going to kill ourselves as well.
Technology over legislation, I think, is the answer, because every time you try to legislate, it's so hard to get international cooperation and people find ways around. But if you listen to a lot of these conversations with people like Sam Harris and Michael Sherman, all these guys who are kind of like leading the conversation on what to do with our future, evolutionary biologists, what's fascinating is that they are now taking fish and farming them not in the ocean but in giant tanks on land, which has actually showed some promise. They were showing sort of like difference, but also, I mean, this is a ways in the future.
You have to make such bigger changes,
but growing meat without a head, which is what cloning is, and doing that, so growing meat without a central nervous system, so suffer-free meat. We're doing that with beef. We're a long ways off before it's sustainable economically, and you've got to get over the ick factor.
You're bringing in the GMO factor as well. Then.
All that stuff, but we are going to be able to essentially grow meat the way we do vegetables on land without a nervous system, without a head, and it'll be that actual tissue and the protein.
I was listening to that too. They're saying right now for like a fillet, it's like $16,000.
Yeah.
But
like everything else,
they're nowhere near. Like, I mean, obviously over time we're gonna get this.
Not
We're all gonna be dead.
It's not that
and there's
far
gonna be
away.
great whites with two heads by the time that happens.
Yeah.
So I'll look forward to that.
It's not that far away. It really isn't.
Then Sharknado will be a documentary.
Yeah, I really will.
Sharknado versus Octodragon.
Sharknado's gonna be real, my
Yeah.
man.
So,
Straight up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry. And the ignorance is bliss, you know?
Well, do you think it's because they say we know more about outer space than we do our own oceans?
Exactly, because we just can't go there. But then, you know, how far out of space are they talking about? We don't know shit. We don't know anything about anything, really. In the
we
grand
know we're
scheme.
fucking it up.
Yeah, exactly right.
We do know we're fucking it up.
We're the only ones that can really save it too. We're the only conscious species here to make the changes. Try and save the sharks. Try and save Shark Week. Try and save our race.
I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Why do you think there? I mean, obviously we know why there's a fascination with great whites, but there's never been a great white that anyone's ever been able to put at SeaWorld, or we saw Asia try putting in a tank. They always die.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only animals we can't contain as like a pet or to view. I mean, do we have any idea why?
I have no idea.
No idea.
People talk about me as a shark expert. Just because I got bitten by a shark doesn't make me a shark expert.
You're on Shark Week. You're an expert.
I know stuff. I know more than the average person, and I get this knowledge through friends of mine that I film with and I work with in conservation and stuff. But I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist. I'm not Dr. de Gelder sitting over here in my lab coat.
It's so true. Just because you've been on the receiving end.
Yeah.
It's like just because you might have gotten chlamydia a couple times doesn't mean you're an expert on chlamydia. You know what I mean, guys? What?
I don't know why he always makes it sexual.
Oh, gonorrhea?
He's on Shark Week.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I like to bring.
on Shark
I like to bring a sexual
I'm exploring the subject, so I'm learning about. This is why I like it as well, because I get to learn, and as I learn, everyone that watches Shark Week gets to learn as well.
Sure.
That's the beauty of it for me.
That's exactly right.
And do you think Shark Week on Discovery Channel is helping or hurting the public's persona of what they think of sharks?
No, I think it's helping. If we didn't have Shark Week, which is, it's if I'm correct, the greatest amount of viewership in the whole year, everyone loves it.
And you're saying up for Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
But everyone loves it. Everyone likes to learn about sharks. Everyone likes to see it. Have you ever seen a shark?
Have you ever seen one?
Yeah.
I have.
I've seen like those. I've seen like those bullshit ones with the teeth.
But it is
I've never
so.
seen like I've never seen the
What do you mean the bullshit ones?
the ones the one you swam with in the tank.
Those
suck. If it's not a great white or bull,
But the thing is, it's actually so rare to see a shark in the wild. Yeah. So especially if you live inland and you don't go in the water. But even I've known surfers that have never seen a shark in their whole life. Up until I got bit, I'd been diving for years. I'd never seen a shark. It's like seeing a unicorn sometimes. Yeah. They're so amazing and beautiful and graceful. And we keep loving every year more and more, learning about them as the scientists learn more about them. Yeah. I totally think it's helping.
Let's save them.
Have you had a lot of shark attack victims reach out to you?
Not a lot. I've had a few.
Yeah.
I worked this year with one, actually. One of the kids that got bitten in South Carolina, was it?
By a bull?
North Carolina last year, there was a bunch of shark bites going on down there, and this kid from Colorado was down there as well. And last year, I flew up there and went and visited him and had a chat.
What happened to him?
He had his arm removed above the elbow, and so this year we got him down to the Bahamas to come on my show, Diving with Sharks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
it was another bull shark.
Yeah, we had bull sharks all around us. It was incredible. His mum was crapping her dacks, but he was all for it.
Jesus.
Tigers, I guess the big three are tigers, bulls, and great whites.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you got to worry about. What about mako sharks?
Again,
you're not an expert, so.
Well, I'm not an expert, but the quickest shark in the ocean, one of the scariest looking sharks in the ocean, if you ask me.
They look like mini great whites.
Yeah, they do.
But there's not too many. As far as I know, there's no unprovoked attacks from makos.
Yeah.
You see them having a go at spear fishermen and stuff sometimes, but you're competing for food. You want to get in the circle of life, then that's your fault.
Yeah.
Let's go to some current events.
Let's do some current events.
The Cub. Evan the Mako. You're a little shark.
Sure, why not? I'll take it. It's cooler than the Cub.
Can we get some water?
So I actually think that you and I may have read the same article today.
Which one?
The article on Vice about the amount of energy and money that we put into mapping space, which is a zillion miles away and has given us very little in terms of return on our investment. Meanwhile, we have mapped out a whole 5% of the ocean.
I haven't seen that.
So that means 65% of the Earth that we have obviously right here. We have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's weird.
So now that there's like a big it's called the Forum for Future Ocean Floor Mapping was this week. It's like a huge symposium of scientists, and they declared their intentions for a NASA scale mission to see every last inch of the seafloor digitally mapped.
Run by James Cameron.
Yeah, that's right. James Cameron's on board.
Human beings are so funny. Like somebody's like, why'd we go to the moon? Because it's there. We just have this need to explore and know
what we don't have. Well, hell yeah. Well, especially Earth. Man. For sure, get on that sooner.
Yeah, right. I'm
the
surprised.
Ocean?
Yeah.
It's right here, man.
Although the ocean is so crazy vast, right? What, 70% of the Earth's
okay,
surface?
so we want to go to space? You know, that's...
It's pretty vast.
Yeah.
It's way more vast than the ocean.
How long? How much longer? How much longer? Yeah, you never really,
For sure focus on
we're not going to have
Earth.
much of a chance, much of a choice if we keep doing to this planet what we're doing. We're going to have to go out there and find another one.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
How do you
like
stay in
science
shape? You're
fact.
obviously in really good shape still.
Yeah, I just keep doing the things that I've always been doing in the military. Train hard, lift heavy, run fast,
Right.
and punch things.
Good man.
You signed up at Gold's.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're in the Mecca for
went down to
gyms,
Gold's
man.
yesterday.
Couldn't be
And
any better, yeah.
It's a cool gym. It's really hot in there, though.
No
That's a
AC,
funny
I know.
side effect of losing limbs. You get really hot.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah, someone explained it to me once that it's because your skin is your air conditioning unit. And when you lose some of that, your air conditioning
That makes sense.
availability goes down. So I get really hot. I was sweating my butt crack
It was
off in there
toasty yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
About $100.
Do you find, because you're a handsome guy, do you find
thank you.
that, yes, you're welcome. Do you find that you're, now that you are an injured man and you got attacked by a shark, are there certain women that are drawn to that?
We call them, well, for you especially, shark groupies.
Shark groupies.
Yeah, look, I do okay. I've been in.
You got a couple sardines hanging around?
I've been in a relationship for ongoing relationships. Not now, recently single, but I've been in a relationship for
Hey, you know
a
what?
while now.
We'll talk after the mics.
Were you
All right, sounds
were
good.
you married or did you have a girlfriend before the accident?
No. I was seeing a girl, and we stayed together for a little while, but you know, she wanted to settle down and I wanted to go and have adventures, and those two things don't always go together. So, you know, that ended, but...
Talk about peacocking, though. When you walk in a bar, you get that black hand.
Well, by the way, I shook his hand, and that thing will crush your hand. That's a good piece of technology.
did you-
Thank God for smart people, huh?
Yeah.
If it was up to
No
me, it'd be
shit.
peg leg and a hook.
No.
How much say did you have in what kind of prosthetic you got? Like, how advanced are the prosthetics now?
This is the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. These two prosthetics that I have here right now are the best in the world that are commercially available. They're made by a German company called Ottobock.
What are you able to do with that hand?
Well, look, to be honest, it's a $90,000 holding device. It opens, it closes, it changes grip, you know, from girl handshake to man handshake and, you know, beer drinking grip. But that's what it is. You know, there's no real dexterity. I can't move the fingers individually. I can press a button on the wrist unit and then I can, like, the wrist goes limp.
Hey, Germany.
Wave goodbye or whatever, but I don't even know what the hell
Fucking
that else
fuck
would be
the
for.
ocean.
What a bullshit
Focus
feature.
on that.
You gotta see this. I wish people could see this feature. That's a bullshit feature. You push a button and it flops. So if you want to
Yeah.
wave like a shithead,
Yeah,
like
exactly
who
right.
waves like that? I'm not gonna be friends
They
with you.
got
Wave-
Mercedes
This
that
is
are
how
more
shut-
complex than
swear.
Look
that.
at that. Yeah. What the fuck is that?
I have no idea what the hell
Tighten
that's
that
for.
hand up, soldier.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good technology. It's so much better than not having one.
I love the color though, because most people go with the flesh color.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's bullshit. The
Yeah.
black is badass.
I know,
You're the
right?
first guy I've seen just rocking the black.
Yeah.
Most people go with that bullshit. It's almost like a pink.
Well, if it's
salmon
gonna
flesh
look
color.
fake, it might as well look cool or
Yeah.
badass.
Robotic.
And the leg is also the best in the world. As far as I'm aware, it's the only electronic leg that's waterproof as well. So I can go swimming with it. It's got a running mode, but it doesn't have a running foot. So
Is that covered by insurance or?
by Veteran Affairs? Yeah.
Oh wow.
So how does that explain how the foot works then? It's not.
Well,
a
it's the
running-
leg. I'm an above knee amputee. So what they actually call it is a knee.
Okay.
It's a prosthetic knee. So I've got the socket on my upper thigh, and then the knee attaches to that and has a hinge at the top of it. And you program it with a computer. You bond it together via Bluetooth, and you set up how fast you want the lower leg to swing through when you're walking. How fast you want it to collapse when you're going downstairs and sitting down. You can set up anti-trip modes. You can make it free swing so you can get on an exercise bike and pedal and things like that. You can lock it out in case you want to do straight-legged leg raises and things like that. But it talks, it has 6 microprocessors in it, an accelerometer, a gyroscope. It has all this stuff that I have no idea what it does, but it allows me to walk really, really well. If I have long pants on, you would not even know I have a prosthetic leg.
Do you have to take it off at night to sleep?
Yeah. And that's one of the hassles that you just have to get used to. You know, I got to get up in the morning and I've got to put a leg on. Some people get up in the morning and they have to find their motivation, or they have to find their happiness, or they have to find a reason to keep going, or they get up in the morning and they have a cigarette. You know, I get up in the morning, I put my leg on, I go to the gym. You know, it's just life.
That'll get you going.
Where do you live?
Nowhere at the moment.
LA now.
Yeah,
Just
LA.
moved to
I
LA.
just
Oh,
moved
cool.
here 5 days ago.
All right, good.
So I'm looking for a home, looking for a car, got to do all this stuff, but
All
I'll
right.
do that after Shark Week. I'm having too much
Get
fun.
that Shark Week money, son.
There
You're
it
gonna
is.
need it here in LA. This ain't Australia.
You wanna
What do
be
you got,
We'll
Ev?
talk.
Our next one we're gonna do some. We'll talk some politics for a second here. After definitely the worst mass shooting that we've had in the States in pretty much
Ever.
forever.
No, it's ever, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much forever. The Senate couldn't get enough bipartisan support to push through any new laws regarding control.
not surprising.
They all got rejected.
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
Is that an indication of how corrupt your government is?
No,
A little bit.
I think people will blame the NRA and their lobbying efforts. I actually think it's a philosophical difference. I think that there's vigorous debate on whether or not there are already, I think, 20,000 laws on the books when it comes to gun control.
That obviously aren't working, are they?
Well, right. And so the biggest, if you really listen to these debates, a lot of the debates are, we already have, 400 million guns in circulation. So I mean, if you want to run a massive confiscation effort, good luck doing that in the United States.
Does Australia have these problems?
Yeah, they
So-
were very effective.
We had up until this shooting, we had the world's largest mass shooting by a single person.
That's right. Is that at that
in
mall?
like 1987.
Yep.
No, it wasn't in a mall. It was outside.
They had an amazing
place
effect.
called Port Arthur.
Their legislation had an amazing effect.
So the Prime Minister at the time decided that's it. We're going to take away all semi-automatic rifles, put in more legislation.
Brilliant.
And everyone, they had a buyback scheme. You get money for your guns. And we have not had a shooting since. Well, we've had bikies shooting
you
each
haven't
other.
had-
And,
yeah.
but we haven't
like
had
what we have.
nothing like that.
It's weird they don't
difference
learn
was
from that
well,
stuff.
but the difference was
You guys are too far
were-
gone.
Yeah, you guys were able to.
We're past the point of
but they were
Yeah.
also able to pass a sort of a nationwide law. The problem in the United States is there are so many loopholes because states have their own sovereignty. There are laws like, for example, one of the biggest issues is that as a private citizen in a lot of states, I can sell you a gun, and it's just a private transaction between us. I don't have to check in on anything that has to do with your background or anything.
That's a
and,
huge issue.
And not only that, that falls in when you have a gun show in certain states. So if you're a private gun dealer and you're at a gun show, I can buy that gun from you, and I don't have to go through the federal.
What's weird to me is both sides. However you feel, I think everyone has to acknowledge whatever we're currently doing is
not working.
not working.
That's a good point.
And not only is it not working, it's going terrible.
I'm more confused about the terrorist watch list thing, where they wanted to introduce more extensive checks if you've been on a terrorist watch list, or just not allow you to buy a gun.
But again-
and they knocked that back.
Okay,
too.
but
so
here's the
you
other-
want terrorists to have guns?
Well, no, but Americans are very wary. Historically, very wary of the idea that because you're under investigation by a state agency, you are already considered guilty.
Okay.
And when you tie in the fact that, you're not allowed to have a gun, the idea of having a standing army in our country was a very, very contentious issue with the second presidential election in our country. And the idea being a standing army is always taken over by a charismatic leader to suppress the people. That's been the history of Europe and every other country. We're not going to be that way as a country. The Revolutionary War has definitely changed that. We'd had to have an army. But there's an emotional and historical quotient you've got to take into account in this country, which is the idea that, and if you hear these debates, man, a lot of people say, look, if you're going to pass another gun law, okay, is this an idea of people getting access to lethal weaponry? Probably, but is it also a mental health issue? Remember, this guy, for example, in Orlando, had a carrier's permit, a regular permit, worked as a security guard for 7 years, didn't have really a history of mental illness. He had two I guess, instances where he was making inflammatory remarks that were investigated.
He's also on the FBI watch list.
That's right.
Twice.
Yeah. So when you start having these debates, the real issue is what is going to stop this stuff from happening? Let's start there without choosing sides, right?
Nothing.
What is the idea? How do we keep track of people that are mentally ill that are exhibiting signs that they might hurt other people? How do you do that? Is there a central database? How do you do that without? So what is mental illness? How do you define mental illness? If I'm depressed, is that a mental illness? Does that go on my public record? Does that affect my employment? These are really questions that people are wrestling with, and you have to be very careful with how you define these things because you're giving someone, usually a government agency, power over you that can have ramifications for the rest of your life. That's all I'm saying. You might punch somebody in the face, and they say you have mental illness because you have anger issues, and you have to go to anger management, like my friend had to.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
At least
It is
we
a
didn't
bad
shoot
thing.
someone.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad thing under certain
Okay,
circumstances.
so you got to go to anger management.
Look, I
under
love
other-
guns. I was a soldier.
Yeah.
I've used bazookas and
That's
rocket
awesome.
launchers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've been here 5 days and I can't get a gun. Yet someone under investigation by the FBI can get one.
Well,
There's some. Yeah.
I mean, here's what I think is
And
sensible.
I'm trained in it.
I know.
I just am. I thought a lot about it. I don't know the answer. I think it's a
don't
lot
think
more
anyone does,
complicated.
B. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
it-
we had.
obviously
But
no
I
one
will
does.
say this: with every problem, there is a solution. And I think that the solution's out there, and I think that we need to. But I think both sides are not talking to each other. The debates in this country crack me up because what happens is we break up into teams, and people get very emotional. They go, "I'm a gun owner. I'm an American. Fuck you. You're a liberal communist." And then the gun control people say, "Listen, man, there's got to be sensible gun control here." And they go, "You're fucking infringing on my rights."
What's weird? Where's the person going? Hey, whatever you believe in, it ain't working.
That's what we're doing.
It's terrible.
That's
This
probably
is
most
fucking
people.
terrible.
That's probably most people. But the debate gets
Except
hijacked.
for the people that make the decisions.
It gets hijacked.
I find it interesting that people want more guns.
That's
This
mind-blowing.
is how you protect. Yeah, I've got friends on Facebook and stuff out here, and they update their status and say, this is how you stay safe from people with guns. Make sure you have a gun with you everywhere.
That seems logical because men do that.
This is the Wild West still out here. You guys haven't changed since the old spaghetti western movies.
Well, listen. Look at our mythology.
We haven't
our
advanced.
movies. Go to the movie theater right now. Our movies
I'm not
are
sure
about
I want to.
one
They
man.
get shot up.
Well, yeah, that's by the way. But
By
our
white
movies,
guys.
Our movies are about one man who solves his problems. How? Typically violently. John Wayne. It goes back.
God damn, he said
it's
John
frontier justice. I mean, Rambo. Think about the movies. Think about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator. One man with a gun, and those guys are bad guys. The terrorists. There are terrorists over there. What do? We got to kill them. Donald Trump. Donald Trump basically is calling for a ban on all Muslims.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get rid of them. That's what'll solve the problem. So I think we have this mindset. Two different camps. One mindset
we
is
can't even save the ocean, let alone guns. There's so many. Let's move on. What else you got, Ev?
Speaking of Donald Trump, his campaign is basically broke.
Oh yeah.
He's broke.
He can change that with one check.
His campaign is broke as fuck. He had $3 million in contributions this month, which is already a really low number. 2.2 of that came out of his own pocket. Yeah. I don't know how much more of his own money.
But isn't that the thing though? He's not taking.
No, but
donations?
he's losing support even from the entire
people.
Republican.
So once again, speaking of FBI investigations, his competitor Hillary, is she still under investigation?
She is.
She is.
That blows me away.
She might get indicted.
It's like you're
How about
speaking.
So you can still run for president even though so a terrorist can buy a gun and a suspected criminal can become president. This place is crazy.
Welcome, my friend.
Oh my
Welcome.
God.
You want to hang
Innocent
out?
until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty, my friend. But that is something that people have talked about. First of all, if you were anybody but Hillary Clinton, you'd be in jail. When you have an internet server that you put in your bathroom and it's and you're the Secretary of State, people have access to those emails. That is something that if you're a regular guy and you work for the government, you're a CIA operative, you're going to jail. You're going to jail.
So how does she bypass this?
Just keep on keeping on, man. Especially when you're running against the dumbass Donald Trump. We're like, out of the two, we'll take that.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Yeah. That's what we're doing these
Is it
days.
the lesser of two evils here at the moment?
Because you can't have Trump.
So
you
how
know
do
if we have Trump, we're all fucked.
When I first heard that, I thought it was a joke.
Nah. Politics.
Trump. I actually thought it was a joke
Yeah.
until it started going further. I was like, holy crap,
the
this
rest of the
is
world
for
does
real.
think it's a joke.
Then I thought he won't make it very far, especially with all these racist things he said. It kept going on. And so now it's down to the lesser of the two evils, and some people firmly believe in Hillary and some people violently
she's
believe in...
so far ahead of him at this point, and he keeps digging his own grave, and they've tried to talk to him. And I'll do a dropping knowledge on Trump because I have that's what I had today, that we'll have a little talk real quick about it. But let's go to the next
What else
thing.
you got, Ev?
We'll dive
Any
in
more
on Trump.
politics?
That was it, my man.
Okay. So my dropping knowledge on Trump, and I just wanted to kind of give people an idea. Let's just talk for a second about the wall he keeps trying to build. He was talking about this on Sunday. So he thinks building a wall is going to keep all those terrible Mexicans and all those terrible Latin Americans who are obviously coming in and ruining our country, et cetera, et cetera. A wall that would cost, by conservative estimates, $40 billion. He also said that Mexico is going to pay for it. Okay. Good luck getting Mexico to pay for it. Vicente Fox, who's the former president, basically said, go fuck yourself. You're not going to get a proud country like Mexico to pay $40 billion, nor should we. And then he went further and said, well, then we'll impose tariffs on Mexico and we will confiscate money that Mexicans make in this country and send back to their families, which of course is illegal and of course un-American and of course crazy.
Okay, can you just clarify something for
Yes.
me? As a foreigner,
what's
wrong with Mexicans?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They're
They have
so-
a lot to.
They work
been
their
to our
ass
economy.
off.
They've been so nice.
They
work their-
do jobs most white people or whatever ethnicity are in America don't want to do.
Yeah, and I would remind people that they're Mexicans. How do you define a Mexican? There are a lot of Mexican American citizens that are a great part of the fabric of this country, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what I figured.
He went so far as to say he's being indicted, and I want to just go through what a great businessman he was. His casinos, dead, defunct, were a disaster. Steaks, he had an airline, dead. Even they've done some studies in the New York Times about his real estate ventures. They made a lot of miscalculations. A lot. People in Citibank and the banks that loaned him the money, a lot of those bankers were fired. A lot of the banks went broke.
So B, you're dropping knowledge how shitty Trump is.
Yeah, but we keep going for a sec. He even said that the judge who is investigating his essentially college, Trump University, the judge should be recused because he's Mexican. Well, he's ethnically Mexican, but he was born in Indiana. And they were like, but dude, he was born in Indiana. He's an American. Are you saying because of his ethnicity? This is the big dropping knowledge, though. So just we've already got how crazy
We've been through
he
this
is.
Trump stuff.
No. This is important. I want to address how he talks about Muslims and how we should ban Muslims from this country. Let's just examine this just from a very, very important, just from a very sort of, let's just take it from a strategic point of view, take all the emotion out of it. If you ban Muslims from this country, if you are serious about fighting terrorism overseas and there is a terrorist threat, there is an extremist Islamic terrorist threat, we know that exists. Guess who you need? You need the help of the countries that are hosting those people. Those countries are Muslim. We could never do it without Muslim cooperation, ever. So strategically, anybody in the CIA, anybody in the front lines of this fight will tell you how absolutely nuts that is to actually create an enemy of 1,300,000,000 Muslims. It makes no strategic sense. Forget the emotion. So that's kind of, since we were talking about Trump.
I got to drop a knowledge on it. You'll enjoy this.
All right.
So, in the past 88 years, there's 100. This is in California where we live. There's 114 confirmed shark attacks. Just 10 were fatal. So it's about one attack each year on average. And think about all the millions of people that are in the that go to the ocean. So they're basing it from basically San Diego to San Francisco. 1,100
It's a big stretch.
miles of coast. Huge, right? So it sounds like a low probability. The hottest spots for shark attacks by county are San Diego with 17, Humboldt, Monterey, Santa Barbara, Marin, San Luis Obispo, Santa Cruz. Then Los Angeles is 6, San Francisco's 5.
So these are non-fatal shark bites.
Non-fatal shark attacks, yeah. But
Have we had shark bites in Los Angeles besides, I think there was one because the guy got caught up in that.
But also the shark attacks go down certain months, which that doesn't matter on these odds because July through October, the beaches aren't as busy, it's saying. But so it says a Stanford study reports the risk of a shark attack is down 91% since 1950. However, here's your drop of knowledge. The actual number of attacks has increased every decade since 1960.
Well, so is the population.
Yeah, well, that's what this is the argument is they're saying the reason they went up is because we're doing more activities in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's not like sharks are attacking more humans.
Right.
So this article is kind of honey-dicking people saying that the shark attacks are up, but they're actually down overall with the amount of people in the oceans.
And if you listen to the scientists, their population of sharks has actually gone down. So it'd be interesting to look into why are the sharks biting people more frequently if there's less of them around. Mm-hmm. Are they hungry? Are they looking for food? Have we taken all of their food? Are we populating areas that we previously didn't populate that sharks have been hunting in before? There's so many factors involved in it. It's like everything else we've been discussing today. It's so bloody complicated.
Well, here's one for you, and this is from basically 10 years, 2000, 2010. There are 114,000 accidental deaths in California alone. 40,000 of these was because of driving, right? So that number one is driving. 30,000 involved drug overdose. So again, not animals. 18 were due to, this is weird, just falls.
Yeah.
Just people fucking fly. And 5 were from shark deaths in California.
Even taking selfies are responsible for more deaths.
It's true.
I don't know how that happens.
Because they fall off cliffs.
Yeah.
Because they fall off cliffs.
Really?
So you could just make another whole subsection created with human stupidity.
Yeah.
And that would completely eradicate even your worry of
the
sharks.
guy who had the shotgun, and there was a rattlesnake, and the guy took the shotgun and goes, and jammed its head with the
butt
butt
of
of the gun. Yeah, and the rattlesnake was like and wrapped his thing around the trigger. Ka-chick, pulled.
Oh my.
Boom! Blew his head off and his butt, half of the buddy's face off. Not
Calm
a good
as a
situation.
bitch.
Calm as a
Oh
bitch.
That
man.
rattlesnake laughed.
Imagine, hey, we got this thing, but that's
Rattlesnake said, "Enjoy this victory with one fucking eye." Boom!
not a good time.
Jesus, man.
Not a good time.
Let's go to fan questions. Evan the Mako.
Because he's all muscle and super aggressive if you get into his
Small.
food. Well, Mako's
Quick.
No,
There
not
you go.
compared to the other sharks.
Makos are pretty giant. Makos get
Quickest
over
sharks in the
1,000 pounds.
Start
ocean.
with the shark guy here.
Over 1,000 pounds.
But Mako's compared to great whites, bull, and tigers.
Bigger than
they're
bulls.
smaller.
Makos are bigger than bulls.
Makos would be about same size as bulls.
Yeah.
They're generally about 9 foot, I think. I think they can get a little bit bigger, but as far as great
Evan,
whites,
look it up.
big shark.
Yeah.
Those things. And it's not even like you can talk about a great white shark and say, oh yeah, it's 15, 16 foot.
Width.
It's the girth. Yeah, that's the thing. When you see these
girth.
things.
I like the way he said
girth.
girth.
The girth.
Yeah, but he said the girth.
The girth of
skinny.
these sharks.
Skinny.
They're not skinny.
Yeah, they're so fatting around, especially what they call the super girls. Man, these things are just
The ones that are
they're
pregnant, or they're
dinosaurs.
just-
They don't even need to be pregnant. They're just huge.
Damn, I'd love to see one. So we got an offer to do an Australia live tour.
Oh
The
yeah,
only way I'm going is if we can jump in the water with sharks.
do it.
In a cage. with a
Yes,
helmet.
the only place to do it is in South
With a helmet,
Australia
did you say?
with
With a
a,
helmet, yeah.
I don't know if that's going to help.
and a full body sumo suit.
Yeah. And no.
What do we got for Makos? How big are they? I want to know.
12 foot.
It's about, let's see here.
Well, it's not going to matter. You'd have to have the top 5 largest sharks.
The average adult measures around 10 feet in length and weighs from 132 to 298 pounds.
Yeah,
That's
they've
it?
had some big 12-foot ones. So the biggest shark, obviously, well,
It's not that big.
biggest shark is whale shark. Great white, probably tiger shark. Oh, you got basking shark as well.
Yeah, they're giant whale sharks and all
Yeah.
that. But the great white's the king daddy, man.
Oh, it is. Except
They eat other sharks.
except
I got you right here.
unless it's being hunted
I
by
got you right
orcas.
here. So B, the Makos aren't in the top 10.
Really?
No.
Size-wise, you mean?
No.
No, just speed, fastest one.
They're fast, skinny, yeah. Obviously, your whale's number 1, basking number 2. Baskings look ridiculous. I'm not too scared of that thing at all. Number 3, great white. Number 4, tiger shark. Number 5, Pacific sleeper shark. Doesn't sound scary at
There
all.
we go. Haven't had the opportunity to
6
meet that one
Greenland
yet.
shark.
Yep.
7 hammerhead. Not very scared of hammerheads. I feel like I can
They're
control this
amazing.
guy.
So, well, that's what we did. We've dived with great hammerheads in the Bahamas this year, and I'd never seen one before. They are the most incredible looking sharks, like so hugely evolved, and because they have the eyes on the side of their head, and we got this briefing from Craig O'Connell before we got in the water, they will actually swim directly into you.
Because they can't see.
They can't see. They detect, but they can't see you with the eyeballs. So you have to grab them by their gigantic, bony, hard head and redirect them. That's not the easiest thing to do when you only have one hand either.
Yeah.
Because you got to make sure you're grabbing it by the middle, or it just sort of like turns in on your hand. But they're so incredible to see,
yeah.
and they're massive too.
And they're not that
Huge, big
dangerous,
dolphin-
right?
No, they don't attack humans.
I'll tell you who's not hearing a peep out of any of those fucking sharks, and I mean not a peep. The old orca.
Oh yeah.
The old killer whale.
Orcas laugh at great whites.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
false killer whales. You know there's false killer whales as well?
What do you mean?
So they look a lot like killer whales, but they don't have the black and white markings. They're grey. And we just had a guy, an amateur drone flyer, get footage of, I think it was 3 false killer whales chasing down and killing a great white shark.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so they got it all filmed from
I gotta
above.
see this.
And how
It
do
was
they kill
amazing.
him? They come up underneath him in the
It
stomach like
actually,
a dolphin?
they chased it down. I think they must have wore it out a little bit. And then you just see this white flash, and it's the shark's underside up facing towards the camera.
Yeah.
And it's basically got it like a dog does a bone. You can
Jesus
see the
Christ.
great white out either side of its mouth.
I gotta see this. Where's this footage?
It should be on YouTube.
This is
You
called a flash whale?
just
Well, that's my new
Google
favorite
just
animal.
Google false killer whales.
False killer whale.
Yeah,
Oh,
whales
false
kill
flash.
sharks.
Is that what it's called? A false killer whale?
False killer
That's
whale.
the scientific. That's
But
what
it
we
is a
refer
killer
to
Yeah.
whale, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a
it's
false killer whale. It's the same sort of thing. It's like they're all I can't think of the word of it now, but it's
All
the same
same
sort of family.
subspecies.
Yeah,
It looks like a
dolphins,
killer
porpoise,
whale,
and all
but
that.
spray painted gray.
Exactly. Yeah, it's undercover.
El Orca ain't here.
Damn, that thing
Pause
is
this
Fucking
video.
peep.
That's the one. Yeah, 4 of them.
Hold on.
Get that
hold
over
on.
here,
Bring it
sir.
over here right now.
Is this on Shark Week?
Bring that over here right frickin' now. That's his drone. Look at the gray white.
Elk Great White looks like
What?
shit next to these things. Holy
Oh!
You can see it. Holding it like
Do we know that's a gray white though?
Yeah.
Oh my
shit.
god,
100.
dude!
Dude,
All I
that thing
know.
dominated that little
All
Great
I
White.
know is don't.
Not scared of Great Whites anymore.
They said when we were shooting down in South Australia, we were on a boat last year where we were using sound to attract the sharks in because they didn't have licenses to blood and bait. So they came up with this ingenious way to attract the great whites in by using low dulcet tones like death metal. And the sharks would come in. It was really incredible because it mimics the low sounds of fish and injured and flopping on the surface and seals bumping into each other, I guess. But they accidentally played, well, I don't know if it was accidentally or not, but they wanted to see what happened and they played the sound of orcas. And the sharks pissed off for 3 months.
Damn.
3 months.
3 months.
Orcas are the
There you go.
badasses of the sea.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I had no idea. I mean, I knew they were badass.
We
but I
call
didn't
them the
know.
big dogs of the sea, Brendan.
big dogs.
Call them big dogs.
The alpha males.
I call them the big dogs. When I see orcas,
kings
and
of the kings of the waves.
I go, here come the big dogs. That's what I
See,
say.
I say king of the waves.
You say king of the waves?
King of the waves.
But I don't know if they're in the waves a lot, dude.
Oh, they in the waves.
Oh,
you,
they
you ever
are?
seen them kill the seals? They make them go on
Create the
land.
wave
They
and
create
rock
the
them
waves.
off the
so you call
iceberg.
them king of the waves.
King of the waves, because what they do is they put them on land and just grab them, take them.
Because I'm
back.
usually in deep water, so I call them the big dogs.
King of the waves.
Okay.
Good lord. Let's do some fan
What
questions.
happens?
All right,
On
let's
hour
do it.
2, we start getting talking about nothing.
All right, first fan question. Paul, did you have any feelings of revenge against the sharks, or were you able to put it in perspective right away?
No, I never had any feelings of revenge.
Right when it happened, you weren't like,
No, not even a little bit, man. I lived a dangerous life. I was jumping out of planes with the army with a machine gun and running around the bush, jumping out of helicopters and blowing up bombs and shooting guns, all that. So I chose a dangerous life.
Yeah.
You cannot blame your choice of life, the things that happened to you because of your choice of life. I knew there were sharks in there. It sucked, but I didn't.
signed up for
Did you
it.
do any
Exactly right.
Did you do any training in the Northern Territory? Did you have any contact with crocodiles?
No, I've been up there. I've seen them. They're pretty impressive. They're pretty horrifying.
Oh yeah.
But I would much rather deal with sharks than crocs.
100%, because you never hear anyone going, yeah, it's weird, man, the croc, they don't like the way I taste, they just grab my arm. Then
No.
huh?
No,
They love.
we had a girl get
Oh,
eaten
they
a couple
love
of weeks
it.
ago.
You guys had a girl?
Yeah. They went swimming in a waterway that was signposted as having crocodiles at night.
Listen, girl, you got to look. They were
Is it a
probably
teenage-
drunk.
this
They
is
were
a
probably
teenage
fucking
girl?
drunk.
No, I think she was probably late 20s. I'm not 100%
Probably
on that.
drunk.
Yeah. Just decided to go for a swim, and I think it was in northern Queensland. It wasn't even in Northern
Oh, this
Territory.
was not. I thought you said Mexico.
No, this is in Australia.
this is-
yeah.
in Northern
No, just decided to go for a swimming night in northern Queensland.
No, you don't.
Got eaten.
Oh,
Her
I
friend
read- I
jumped
read
in
about
and got
this.
bitten
Right.
as well. Yeah,
That's right.
We get tourists up there a lot.
So one got
Getting
eaten
eaten.
and one got bit.
Yep. And they are scary. Crocodiles,
scary.
and they won't just bite you and let go. They'll bite you, they'll flip and they'll do the death roll, trying to twist you to pieces, trying to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Then they'll stick you under a log.
Tenderize.
Yeah, so you decompose and they'll come back and eat you.
Yeah.
That's scary.
They might be the scariest animal.
I would agree
'Cause
with
it's
you.
literally, it's not, sharks, they're a little confused. They might bite you, let go.
Oh no,
Alligator,
crocodiles
just-
plot and they learn.
Fuck,
Like they'll watch people coming up to the water to collect their daily water rations and things like that, and they'll time it.
They're
They'll know what time of
sabotage
day you come.
hunters.
Yeah.
I saw a video where it said, careful, alligators on the opposite side of this fence. Show the alligator climbing the fence.
Oh yeah, Rogan retweeted that.
Oh yeah, Rogan posted on his Instagram. Shows this alligator, giant tail. Oh cool, we're on the other side. Nah, I like it over here though.
What?
Climbing the fence.
What?
Right. It was
It's a lizard.
It was exactly like in Jurassic Park where the raptor figures out how to open doors. It was exactly like that with an alligator. It was
Use
terrifying.
his tail to problem solve. Big alligator.
Yeah.
Oh, da.
Yeah,
Climbed
no,
over,
that's
other
not
side.
good.
Could have
See,
climbed the
humans
chain
were
link
at.
fence.
That's not good.
Chain link fence.
Always look for the nostrils. Oh, the little nostrils. Are those nostrils? I'm out. Is that a log? Fuck.
No, Costa Rica. Remember we're in Costa Rica?
Yes.
We were on this.
And the thing is, they're not just in the water like sharks are. It's not like, okay, I'm scared of sharks. I'm not going to go in the ocean. The crocodiles go on land. We've had them in the ponds at golf courses.
I know.
Gators end up in swimming pools, don't they, down in Florida?
course they
do. Yeah.
Of course
yeah,
they
see,
do.
you can't escape
can't do
them.
anything.
You can run away from them because they're not that quick. but-
Straight from
Wait, Australia has you have these tiger snakes, brown snakes. You have snakes that will
Taipans.
bite you, taipans, bushmasters, I think. You got snakes that'll bite you that we'll see you later.
Yeah, you're
You'll,
dead.
you
You
got
just got kangaroos that box your fucking face
And you got
off.
the funnel web
Got what?
spiders.
They'll box your face off.
Oh.
You ever seen kangaroo go to work out, man?
Unless you're our boy Hurricane from, we just did Ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek and his buddy Hurricane. His name is David. He's a giant guy. He's about 6'8" and 300 and some odd pounds. Giant man,
Jeez.
even bigger. And I sang a song to him. I went, he's so big that wild animals are afraid of him. And I was doing this thing, and he goes, actually, I had a wolf and a kangaroo submit to me.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, there's this place, a sanctuary. My family has been there. And this kangaroo saw him, and usually they show you their balls. They pull their balls out for real.
That's a thing. I didn't know that. I learned something
when
about
he
my own
saw-
country today.
Yep,
I didn't know
when
that
he
either.
saw him, the kangaroo put his balls back in, and they go, oh, he's being submissive to you. The wolf that comes out, timber wolf, comes out and rolls over on its back, said he's going to submit, you're much bigger.
But these
I'd
are
love to be
also,
that
but these
big.
aren't wild. Like you put Hurricane's ass in a real Australian fucking setting, that
don't
kangaroos
know.
can go, huh?
I don't know.
Douche.
You know what's not hearing a peep at from Hurricane or anybody
Crocodile.
on two legs.
Crocodile.
No, it's a bird, and it's not an
Cassowary.
ostrich. Cassowary.
Yeah.
Give me it. Okay, he
Oh
knows.
man, those things, they got the like big claw on their leg, they got the
Tell
big
him.
bone on
Tell
their
this
head.
fucker.
They will kick you.
You don't know shit,
not
bro.
worried about him.
You fucking excuse
Oh.
me?
Are they
Tell him.
here?
Tell this fucker.
No, they're
Open
not
your
here,
fucking
but
ears.
They're like a velociraptor.
It's a
In the claw
velociraptor.
that comes out, they will kick you and the sliced open stomach.
Open your
Are
fucking
they as
stomach.
Big, are they as big as ostriches?
Yeah, no.
Bigger.
Oh,
They're big. They're thicker.
That's them
so
there.
Shut
yeah,
up.
they got that
See that
big,
thing?
big blue neck,
Yeah,
big
tell him.
front claw.
Tell this fucking
They
guy.
will kick you and open you up.
Yeah.
You guys are scared of them in Australia?
We're
You're
not
scared
scared
of
of them. You don't see them anywhere.
Yeah, but if you do, you fucking
better run.
you
Yeah,
run.
you run.
You
Yeah,
with
get
your
out there.
MMA.
Climb a tree.
Sorry, I had to go bad on him. Anyway, we fucking taught him.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, dude.
They'll
Oh no. They
jump
will,
in the air and
they
kung
kill
fu
people.
your abdomen.
He's using a shield.
Why the fuck is that guy so close to
Because
it?
he's using a shield. They're untamable. You cannot tame a cassowary.
Yeah, even in the zoos, they have to be put behind 7-foot fences.
Jesus
Yep.
Christ.
So a little respect for the cassowary.
World's deadliest
Don't say that,
That thing looks stupid.
dude.
I like that false killer one, bro. What else you got, Ev?
All right, next fan question we've got is from Alexander28. What is the biggest change in your life since the shark attack?
Shit, there's been so many. Initially, obviously, not having a hand and a leg.
That's
It's a
kind of a given.
pretty big change.
I think yeah.
Yeah.
kind of a big change. You don't realize how much you use your hand and leg until you
right.
lose it.
Not being that really messes up your ability to squat and bench press. Luckily, I have tools for that now. So, but everything has changed. Every aspect of my life has changed. I've become a different person. Like I said, I was scared of sharks and public speaking. Now I make shark documentaries and do motivational speaking. So my career's changed. My mindset's changed. Well, it hasn't. Really, my mindset hasn't changed. It's just developed further.
Yeah.
Were you left or right-handed?
There you go. I'm left-handed now. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Learning to write left-handed, learning how to do things one-handed. How do you open a can with one hand?
I don't know.
How do you use a dustpan and broom? How do you tie your shoelaces? All these little things. How do you do up buttons and do your ties and all these little things you got to relearn how to do, and they're so frustrating until you just learn.
Because you have no other choice.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, and it's amazing what you can do when you don't have a choice.
That's crazy.
I've
man.
never jerked off with my left hand. Sorry to say that, but that is significant. Sorry. I mean, come
We
on,
gotta
let's be
go there
honest.
with our boy.
Look,
So I
bro,
ran
I'm
in-
just saying, it's difficult.
I was having a chat with John Jones at the LA Fitness Expo when I was up here like 6 months ago. The first question he asked me, "You jerked off with that robot hand?" I was like, "Fuck, John, I'll let you get away
That
with
was
that
the
one."
question?
mate."
Come on, dude.
What-
Of all the questions,
Yeah, it's
at
not-
least that was my last after 2 hours.
What else you got, Ev?
But it is significant.
All right, next
And
one.
no, I haven't. I'm too scared it's going to clench up and rip the skin
Yeah,
off.
the might
Get it.
malfunction.
You
and
felt
then you're
how
missing
hard
the
that
dick.
squeezes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt how hard it was.
It would
Turn me on a
squeeze
little
your
bit.
dick like a fruit roll-up.
not
What
gonna-
else you got?
Since the attack, have you gained a new respect for the odd and dangerous sea, as it's clearly a different world than we have up here on land?
No, I always had that. I was a Navy man.
So you already knew what you were
Yeah,
signing up for.
exactly.
Waves and current that you also worry about, right?
Waves and currents and sea states and box jellyfish and blue-ringed octopus and all that
What's this
stuff.
blue ring octopus you're speaking
It's
of?
the most deadly octopus in the world
Why you say
Yeah.
that?
because they kill you.
How big are they?
They can be
Hey,
about the
hey,
size
Calabasas finest.
I know about
Let me
these.
talk to the
No,
expert.
bro, I know about these, but
What
go
is
ahead.
it?
I'll let
of.
him go. Go.
So
Paul.
they can be as small as a quarter,
quarter.
and they can still kill you.
Still kill you.
What?
Yep, and you just find them in rock pools, and little
rock
kids will
pools.
pick them up and put
Yep.
them in their hand, and Ma, look, I found an octopus,
Dead.
and it can kill you.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
No
me?
shit.
Why?
we're
It's
not
just
kidding
poison?
Yeah, it's poison.
Yeah, it's
got
fucking
venom.
poison.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, so
Blue-ringed
cassowaries
octopus.
and
So
blue-ring
they
octopus.
just
Hey,
look
why
like
don't
a,
they do a blue ring octopus week? That thing sounds terrifying. That'd be sick.
That's bad. I didn't know that they were in
Pretty
little.
cool looking.
yeah.
I didn't know they were in pools. like
Well,
that.
no shit.
looks
That
cool.
thing's killer. Look at it.
Anything
Yeah.
that beautiful is killer. If it's spotted,
Anything with those colors and
Oh,
spotted.
the
Yeah.
thing is that until
Yeah.
it feels threatened, you can't even see the blue rings on it.
Okay.
It just looks like a normal little octopus, a
See,
little
and I
cute
love
thing.
octopus. I would grab that.
So would
Yeah.
I.
I love
Dead.
octopus.
what now? Does it bite you or is it the skin?
Yeah, it bites you.
It bites you.
Yep.
With its little
With
beak,
its beak, yeah.
and injects a poison. in you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they're really, really venomous.
Scary.
There's a lot of
Are
poison.
those
shit.
only in Australia?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Perfect.
I haven't heard of them being anywhere else.
Perfect.
Yeah, just another one to add to the list.
Yeah, don't wade. in
There's too many
pools.
ways to die in Australia.
Well, you know, when I was in Fiji,
Besides gun by man.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I was in Tahiti and they had the scorpion or stonefish. Stonefish.
Yep.
Those are
And they look like stones.
Yeah.
And my
I nearly
kids are
put my
running
hand
around. I'm
on
like,
one.
what's that?
I nearly put my hand on one.
Those are nasty.
It's painful.
Those are
So
nasty.
ugly.
They are.
What else you got, Ev?
All right, we got one more. Being an expert, is there any true fear to justify being scared of sharks while playing in the oceans? I know sharks are brutal, but lightning is dangerous too, given the chance. So would you say that shark encounters are more fate and randomness, or should these two kids keep their tasty asses out of the water?
Well, firstly, clarify once again, not an expert, but I've never stopped doing something I love because of the things I'm afraid of.
Sure.
You know, you never stay out of the water because you're scared of drowning or anything like that. Man, don't worry about that. You know, life will hand you what it's going to hand you. Just enjoy yourself, live your life. I'm more afraid of not living than I am of dying.
Sure.
But there are also ways for you to avoid being eaten by a shark. Stay up to date on current events. Check with your surf life
Stay
saving.
on land.
Stay on land if you're a big girl's
Don't
blouse.
swim dusk or dawn, right?
Well, you know, there's contention on that point as well because a lot of shark attacks have happened in the middle of the day. Don't swim near the mouths of rivers. If you're swimming near piers where people are fishing, obviously people catching fish and the fish is flopping around are going to attract sharks
why
in.
not near mouths of rivers?
Because that's where the bull sharks go in and out of, because they're the only shark that can live in freshwater and saltwater. So they go up the rivers and they pup so that there's no threats to the lives of their baby bull sharks. So, I grew up thinking that the rivers were safe.
Well, dude, when we were
they
in,
also don't say don't wear shiny stuff.
Yeah, shiny stuff is going to make you look like food.
when we were in Costa Rica, oft times, first of all, the mouth of the river was, as he said, just 300 meters just down that way. So I was like, that's already a huge problem. Second of all, the crocodiles come out and they beach on the beach. They're on the beach. They're 20 footers on the beach. Now, apparently they don't bite you in open water. I don't believe you.
I don't believe
and
you.
I'm not getting in
Especially
that water.
saltwater crocodiles.
That's
Couldn't
right.
be any more nasty.
Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
That's right. And my kids are frolicking around the water. I was like, nah, I don't like this. I was
Good
right with them
Lord.
looking, as if I'm going to do anything, by the way.
Still though,
It's personal responsibility. Sometimes it's fate. Sometimes it's unlucky. Sometimes it's ignorance.
sometimes you just gotta chalk it up as you were the.
We're all going to
you're
die.
watch that
We're all
game.
going to die. We know
And what
that.
a better way to go than by a crocodile shark.
Yeah, at least
At
you'll
least
have
you're
a
gonna
good
make
story in
CNN.
heaven.
You're gonna make CNN at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big deal out here. Well, is there any more, Ev?
That's it, my man. It's a wrap.
Boom.
Paul de
Paul,
Gelder, you're a good
where can
man.
they find you, brother? If people want to watch, learn more about you, website, Twitter, all that.
I've got a website, pauldegelder.com. I'm going to be on Shark Week all week.
Whoop, whoop.
On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, just like everyone else on the planet is.
And what's your handle on Instagram? Right?
Paul de Gelder.
Boom.
Nice and
We'll
simple.
tweet
And
it
the
out
book
as well.
is
No time for fear. You can get it online.
Bet your
No
sweet
time for
ass there's
fear.
no time for fear.
There's
Unless
some
you're
really good surgery photos in there too. I've had, when I do my motivational talks, I've been doing it for about 4 years now. I've had 43 people pass out.
what?
No shit.
Oh, hell.
30,
Oh.
39 men.
you
Oh,
you
man.
bring him up. You bring up. The
Yeah,
pictures.
and I give a fair warning. I give a big screen to say, graphic photos coming up. I make very light of it as well. I have a bit of fun with it. I give everyone a warning. If you don't like blood and guts, just go to a happy place, close your eyes. I'll let you know when it's all over. But then someone told me that they passed out just because of the way I was explaining it.
Well, blood.
I feel
I've
sick.
had I had a girlfriend who would faint at the sight of her own blood, and she did it twice. She got
like nicked and was like,
yes,
"Ugh."
she got yes, and she.
If you were
I'll
messed
tell
up,
who
you
it
could
is.
have some fun
I'll tell
with
you who
that.
it is after. And we were standing there, and she nicked herself, cut herself, on a knife, and she went. I looked over, and I just heard, "Kadoom," just kadoom, and she was out on the floor. I was like, "Holy shit!" I couldn't believe it. Just passed
Well,
out.
Paul, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks
it's such
for having me.
Inspirational story. You're one of the good guys, man.
Cheers,
we
brother.
got your back, brother. And thanks a lot for
We'll
coming
grab
on.
a brew
Hell yeah.
because you're
Yeah,
our
brew,
neighbor now.
and we'll talk about
true.
this ocean. What the hell the three of us can do to fix it. This is the Fine Kid. We're out.